1 minute warning.
Morning, Eagles. There we go. We're ready.
The time is now 6 o'clock.
We'll call the Planning Commission meeting to order for Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. Can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Richards? Alderperson Denham?
Here.
Commissioner Green?
Here.
Commissioner Hillis?
Here.
Chairperson Groman? Vice Chairperson Dieger? Commissioner Lloyd?
Here.
Commissioner Martinowski?
Here.
Commissioner O'Day?
Here.
Commissioner Gore?
Here.
We have 10 present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Would you all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? This is the time in our meeting where members of the public can speak regarding city business that this planning commission has jurisdiction or authority to take action on, which is not listed on the agenda for public hearing. We ask you should be mindful of everybody's time and refrain from making comments that are repetitive. We ask members of the public to please keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. For any meeting where 10 or more speakers sign up to speak, the time shall be reduced to a 3-minute limit. Please state your name and whether you are a Branson resident when you come up to the podium. Do we have any public speakers tonight?
No one has signed up for public speaking tonight.
Okay. That being the case, we'll move on to our regular agenda. The first item is the approval of Planning Commission meetings. For the February 6, 2024 regular meeting, has the commission had a chance to review the minutes? Any?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay. Okay. Motion's made and seconded. Now call for a vote.
Commissioner Richards? Yes. Alderperson Denham?
Yes.
Commissioner Green?
Yes.
Commissioner Hillis?
Yes.
Chairperson Groman?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Dieger?
Yes.
Commissioner Lloyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Martinowski?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Day?
Yes.
And Commissioner Gore?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 10 yea, motion carried.
We're now going to public hearings. The first item on the public hearing is a request for a special use permit to operate a drive-through at the property located at 3410 West 76 Country Boulevard, Branson, Missouri. Can I get a motion to bring this item to the floor?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second that.
We'll now open the public hearing for this item. Would staff like to provide information on this item?
I do. And one quick thing, our posted agenda actually has the rezoning first versus the special use permit, so I apologize for that. I think the script might just be backwards. Holly, do we need to follow the posted agenda?
Only if you don't have a motion to change the amendment. So you can decide to hear that one's first because it's prepared. And you can do that by a simple motion. Motion to change the order of the agenda.
Can I get a motion to change Second? Vote?
And that can be just a general vote. It doesn't have to be a roll call vote.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carries.
Now we're back on schedule.
Okay, Holly, does he need to reopen the public hearing for the special use permit?
He already announced that it was for the special permit, so I think he opened it and then we corrected the order of it. If there's a concern, I think everybody understands that you could just, the chairman, you can announce that we have now reopened the hearing.
We have now reopened the public hearing, I think.
Okay, sorry about that. Jennifer Thompson, senior planner. So yes, tonight we have a request for a special use permit. We have the applicant owner. We have Austin Wagner here of Own Incorporated on behalf of Art Hartu. The address for this is 3410 West 76 Country Boulevard, and the request is to operate a drive-through in the entertainment zoning district with the future intent of a drive-through for Domino's Pizza. So the existing conditions out there, it's currently a vacant, undeveloped property. It was the former site of the Caprice Motor Inn, which has been demoed. To the north, we've got commercial retail. To the south, we've got the restaurant Starvin' Marvin's. To the west, there's a hotel motel. And east across Highway 76 is Andy's Frozen Custard and the track. So a special use permit is something that is required from the Planning Commission for any use listed as a special use in any zoning district. So when you guys are considering a special use, the Planning Commission shall consider the location, the design of the proposed use, configuration of improvements, potential impacts on the surrounding neighborhood, things like that. Here's an image of our neighborhood notice that got sent out to the property owners within 185 feet of the subject property. We've got some aerials that show the location. This is on Highway 76 towards the west end. There's a little bit closer. You can see the track across the street, the Ferris wheel just down the street. So the current zoning of this property is entertainment. It's currently a vacant lot. It used to be a lodging land use. We need to update our map. Here's a copy of our utility map that shows sewer and water lines. We have our orthometric maps with views from the north and the south, the west and the east. So our 2030 community plan does designate this area as core entertainment. So for drive-throughs, we have specific off-street parking standards for vehicle stacking areas and stacking space and lane requirements. So for some of the general standards, there's audible electronic devices such as the loudspeakers that shall not be located within 200 feet of any residential dwelling unit, which in this case it is not, but it's also, Domino's is unique that it does have a drive-through, but they do not have a loudspeaker. So there is no loudspeaker or speaker box or anything like that proposed. The customers are served in vehicles and they're parked to the sides of the rear of the principal building, which is the case in this situation. All drive-through areas, including stacking lanes, shall be located in the side or rear yard, which it is. The stacking spaces shall have a minimum width of 8 feet and length of 20, which it does. And stacking lanes shall be set back 25 feet from rights-of-way, which it is with the site plan. They are in compliance with any of the access standards for the driveway entrances. They are greater than 50 feet from any other intersection. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the request. Like I said, all the applicable standards have been met for the drive-through, including the turn lanes, the setbacks, and the queuing. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any commissioners have any questions? Would the applicant like to provide any information?
Afternoon. I'm Austin Wagner on behalf of OWN. I'd just like to add on to what Jennifer said of this drive-through use will be for the Domino's, as it's unique, as it will not have a loudspeaker system, and it will also not have a menu ordering board. And it'll be similar to the Andy's Frozen Custard that's directly across West 76 Country Boulevard, which is also in the zoning district. I was going to ask if you guys had any additional questions for me.
Any commissioners have any questions? I have one, I'm just curious. Are all the orders just given directly through the window?
Yes, sir, at the window.
Thank you. Now's the time for the public to comment on this request. Do we have any comments from the public? If so, please come down to the podium, fill out the sign-in sheet. Before your comment, please state your name and address. There will be a 5-minute time limit. Hearing none, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion to approve the request for a special use permit to operate a drive-through at the property located at 3410 West 76 Country Boulevard, Branson, Missouri. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
Now call for a vote.
Commissioner Richards? Alderperson Denham?
Yes.
Commissioner Green?
Yes.
Commissioner Hillis?
Yes.
Chairperson Groman?
Yes.
Chairperson Dieger?
Yes.
Commissioner Lloyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Martinowski?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Day?
Yes.
And Commissioner Gore.
Yes.
The result of the vote is 10 yea, motion carries.
The second item on the public hearing is a request for a zoning change from mixed use to community commercial for property located at 780 State Highway 165 in Branson, Missouri. Can I get a motion to bring this item to the floor?
I'll make that motion.
We will now open the public hearing for this item. Would staff like to provide information on this item?
Yes, sir. So we have a request to change the zoning. We have the applicant owner, we have Daniel Shannon, Todd Polk here with CFS Engineers, and we also have the owner, Patrick Basson, in the audience. The address for this property is 780 State Highway 165. So the specific request is to rezone approximately 9.58 acres from mixed-use zoning district to the community commercial zoning district. The future intent of the property is to expand the existing campground towards the southeast portion of the property. And so currently, our code does not permit a campground in the MU mixed-use district. So if this rezone is approved, a campground is permitted by a special use permit in the CC district. We have adjacent zoning to the north and the east, south, and a little bit to the west, which is also MU mixed use. Across State Highway 165, we've got some unincorporated Taney County properties, plus CC, community commercial, where the KOA campground is located. So general procedures for changes in zoning districts for tracts or parcels of land located in the city shall be made by ordinance by the board upon recommendation by the Planning Commission. Here's a copy of our neighborhood notice that went out to the properties within 185 feet of the subject property. We've got some aerials. You can see Thousand Hills Golf Course there to the east, our subject property to the west, a little bit closer. We've got Animal Safari Road just to the east and north of it. So current zoning, again, is mixed use. Existing land use is lodging, as there's an existing campground at this location. Proposed zoning, community commercial. We've got a utility map showing the sewer water lines. The orthometric maps, the view from the north, from the south, the west and the east. So this is an important slide. This is our 2030 community plan, future land use map. So when we go to rezone properties, we always go to this document to see what our future guide land use would be for the city. And in this case, this property is shown to be community commercial. So just a little history. I've got 3 different aerials on the right-hand side there. And dating back to 2003, this was a campground. 2008, it was still a campground. And then currently, it's still a campground. But some of the ordinance history is the property was annexed into the city in 2003. And in 2003, at that same time, it was zoned as commercial, which at that time, our code allowed for campgrounds as a permitted use. So then in 2017, we had an approval of the remapping of the official zoning map for the city of Branson, which essentially rezoned this property to mixed use. And also in 2017, we went through our new zoning designations and we lined them up with our table of permitted uses, which modified quite a few different uses within the city. And by modifying and rezoning this to MU, mixed use, it did not allow a campground. So current zoning code does not allow a campground in the mixed use zoning district, which is why they're rezoning. So staff is recommending approval of this request. The proposed rezoning is supported by the Community Plan 2030 Future Land Use Map. We do have adjacent CC zoning to the west, which is the location of the KOA campground. And essentially the city created a legal non-conforming use for this property by changing it to the MU zoning district, preventing them from any expansion. So, and the expansion of the campground has always been the intent of the property. You can actually kind of see where roads had been cut in on that southeastern portion, but it just kind of stopped and never got building permits to move forward. And having another campground or an expansion of a campground is going to add additional lodging options for the area. And I did want to note there is a temporary use permit right now in our Citizen Serve portal for a temporary construction trailer to be located on this site. But with that, staff is recommending approval of the request and be happy to answer any questions.
Any commissioners have any questions?
Jennifer, in the definitions, it states like an RV park and vehicle park. What's a vehicle park?
I have that definition. Hang on just a second. Let's see. So this is from our ordinance. A recreational vehicle park means any property where one or more lots are rented to users of recreational vehicles and which are occupied for temporary purposes.
Okay, thank you. And then, yes, it's nobody in this room's fault of, the history on this property. And I'm in support of this application, but I guess this would be a question for Holly also. Will this be considered spot zoning?
We discussed that actually, and thank you for bringing that up. It would not, because it meets and fits into the area of what the intent of the future uses are. And actually, Jennifer's the one who looked into this. And when you look at those surrounding it, nothing really fits in that mixed use. It all fits in the future desired zoning of the community, commercial.
Okay, thank you.
So what we're doing is we're working towards that future plan.
That makes sense since these properties were originally zoned commercial. Thank you.
Any commissioners have any other questions or comments? Now is the opportunity for public comment on this request. Do we have any comments from the public? Please come down to the podium and fill out the sign-in sheet. Before your comment, please state your name and address. There will be a 5-minute time limit. Would anyone like to speak on this? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion to approve the request for a zoning change from mixed use to community commercial for the property located at 780 State Highway 165, Branson, Mo.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Second.
I will now call for a vote.
Commissioner Richards? Yes. Alderperson Denham?
Yes.
Commissioner Green?
Yes.
Commissioner Hillis?
Yes.
Chairperson Groman?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Dieger?
Yes.
Commissioner Lloyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Martinowski?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Gore?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 10 yea, 0 nay. Motion carried.
This concludes the public hearing for tonight's agenda. Now on to reports. Staff, do you have any reports for the commission?
I do, Chairman. Brendan, I don't know if it went away or what happened. Yeah, so while he's looking for that, so just a little update on some of the code amendments that we've been flushing through Planning Commission and City Council. On February 27th, the two code amendments for tattoo parlors and the manufactured modular housing did get approved. So they have their second read in March for that one. On that same meeting, February 27th, there was a moratorium was put in place. And this was put into effect for hotel motel conversions into apartments for the E&T zoning district, effective for 90 days, and with proposed code revisions to come that will come back before this board. Another item is commission terms. So we do have, I think, 3 folks that are getting ready to expire, Alderperson Denham, Commissioner Lloyd, and Commissioner Chuck O'Day. And so I checked with the clerk's office, and their tentative timeline for taking applications for planning commission members will close near the end of April. And they tentatively have, the Board of Aldermen will make citizen appointments on the May 14th BOA meeting. So that's kind of a little timeline on that one. And staff does anticipate an April planning commission meeting, so keep that on your radar. But with that, thank you for your service to our community. We appreciate you guys. Yep.
Thanks, Jennifer. Any questions from the commission for Jennifer?
I've got one real quick. Terms typically expire April of whatever year, but the Board of Aldermen is not going to make their determination until May. That'll be after the May meeting. So do our terms expire in April or May?
Well, by the bylaws, it is April, and so I don't know why it's like that, but it was like that last year too. So we probably need to revise our bylaws again to line up with what really happens. So it just seems like that just seems to be the flow of when the applications come in, and then just the meeting agenda dates. But yeah, you're right. You're very correct on that. I don't believe, and I think maybe Holly said something last year that it's okay to continue to be, serving as a commissioner even though your term has expired, technically. I don't think,
Because you're in that position until you are replaced. And so it's like a holdover tenant. Except it's a much more adored by staff. So you are in that appointment until they are able to reappoint, unless there's a reason you can't. Sometimes, for other reasons, people move away or something. And then, of course, they can't continue to serve, but you continue to serve until you're replaced.
Any other questions from the commissioner? Any commissioners want to make a report? That being the case, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn the planning commission meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Second.
Commissioner Richards?
Yes.
Alderman Denham?
Yes.
Commissioner Green?
Yes.
Commissioner Hillis?
Yes.
Chairperson Groman? Vice Chairperson Dieger?
Yes.
Commissioner Lloyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Martinowski?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Gore?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 10 yea, 0 nay. Motion carried. The time is 6:24.